Hey friends, my name is Gabrielle and welcome to FrumiousReads, and today I have my November wrap-up. So, this month was focused on a lot of online reading and I finished a lot of ARCs. So I'm going to talk about the physical books first before I jump into the ebooks that I read. And I also read an audiobook this month, and if you guys are interested in learning more about audiobooks, then I highly recommend Audible. If you guys are interested in getting a 30-day free trial of Audible, then go to www.audibletrial.com/froomious and you will receive a free 30-day trial. And I really recommend it. They get some amazing people to narrate their books and I love listening to them. Now the first book I want to talk about is The First to Know by Abigail Johnson. So I got this book actually at a library book fair where a bunch of local authors were coming to promote their books and just kind of promote literacy in general. I really enjoyed this book. This book talks about Dana Fields, who realizes that her father had an affair and that affair led to a son who is now her half-brother who is the same age as her. It talks a lot about the family relationships, and I feel like it's the most realistic look at family relationships. And overall, if you guys haven't read this book, I would definitely recommend checking it out. Abigail Johnson is an awesome writer, and I actually read another book by her this month that I will talk about in a second. The next book that I read this month is one that everyone talked about, and that is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I mean, I did a full review of this book. If you guys want to know more about it, then I will link it in the description and in the card so you guys can go ahead and click on it if you're interested in hearing more. This book was basically different from any other John Green novel I've read, and if you guys want to know more, then check out my review that's listed in the description down below. This book is really good. The next book I read was The Indigo King by James A. Owen. I love his books. I love this series, and I actually have a pact with Christian that every time I go to a convention that he's presenting, I buy one of his books. This is book 3 of the Chronicles of the Imaginarium Geographica. If you guys haven't checked out the first book, then I definitely recommend you do, because it's really good, and I will leave it in the description as well if you guys are interested. It deals a lot with this kind of atlas that has a bunch of different mythical lands, and how there's 4 caretakers who are in charge of making sure that the power and balance of those lands stay in place so that the world doesn't collapse. It's such a great fantasy, and it's got so many little kind of like tongue-in-cheek moments as you read it that it's just a fun book to read. Alright, and the next book that I read was a children's book that I actually bought for my school kids at the school I work at, and it is called The Tiniest Tumbleweed. This is the cutest book that I have ever read. They're both the runts of their families, but they find their purpose in the desert, and it is so cute. Oh my gosh, if you guys have kids, or if you work at a school, or you just know someone who loves children's books, I definitely recommend The Tiniest Tumbleweed by Kathy Peach. It's adorable. I love it. Moving into the audiobook that I listened to this month, that was Artemis by Andy Weir, and oh my goodness, okay, I have some thoughts on this book. Artemis is a city on the moon, and we follow the main character as she is a smuggler, but also gets caught up in all this political drama and has to kind of go through and save the city. It's a very much an Andy Weir book. If you like Andy Weir's work, then you will like this book. A lot of people are wondering if it lives up to The Martian, which honestly, I don't know if it does. I feel like because of The Martian, we had this expectation, and Artemis is very different. So good on Andy Weir for writing a book that still plays into his theme, but also being different from his first book that got him so famous. I enjoyed the book in general. Did I enjoy it as much as The Martian? Probably not. I don't know if it's because of the audiobook, where I read The Martian as a physical book. So if you're someone who that might affect your preference, then definitely just pick which one you enjoy the most and use that as the form that you consume it in. But I enjoyed the book as a whole. I definitely think that Andy Weir is still an amazing author, and I would read the next book he comes out with. I'm not disappointed by Artemis at all, but you just have to go into it knowing that it's a different book. It's not anything like how The Martian was, except for the fact that it's taking place in space. Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. If you guys haven't listened to it or read it and you want to try out Audible for the first time, like I said, go to audibletrial.com/frumious. Alright, now going into the ebooks that I read this month, these were books that were sent to me by NetGalley. I don't want to give too much of my review of them away because I am typing up a review for them that will be posted on my blog, FrumiousReadsBooks.wordpress.com, and I don't want to give too much away because they are advanced release copies. They haven't actually been published yet. but I'll give you guys like the basic plot outline and what my initial thoughts were, and let you guys decide the rest. So the first book I want to talk about is The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert, and oh my god, if you guys love anything like any kind of fairy tale, any kind of dark story retelling, any kind of magical realism, read that book when it comes out. This book is amazing. It takes place with Alice, and she and her mother have been on kind of like always been nomads. They haven't really ever settled down. Her grandmother is a famous author who wrote the Tales of the Hinterland. One day, it turns out that her mother goes missing, and it's believed that she's been kidnapped by these characters from the hinterland. It's amazing. It's got so many dark and twisted themes. It's so original with the stories it tells. So if you guys are interested, you love fairy tale retellings, you love any kind of the Grimm's fairy tales, I highly recommend you read this book because it's different and it gives us so much new material, and I love it. The next book I want to talk about is You'll Miss Me When I'm Gone by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This book is about two sisters who are twins, Tova and Addie, and their mother has Huntington's disease, and on their 18th birthday they go and get tested for it. One of the twins tests negative and one of the twins tests positive, and it kind of goes through about how they each deal with this diagnosis, about what their possibilities of the future are, how it affects their senior year of high school, and how they make decisions in the future, like what they want their paths to hold. And it's a really good book talking about a subject that not a lot of people know about. So not only does it give all this new information about what it means to be diagnosed with a disease like Huntington's, but also it does it in such a raw and realistic way that you get swept up in the story, and you know, you really root for the characters. And the last book that I read this month was All That Was by Karen Rivers. This book took me by surprise. It's a good book. I'd recommend it if you want something interesting to read, something that's maybe a little bit different from typical YA novels, but at the same time, the prose can be kind of, it was almost too flowery. It almost took away from the story as a whole, and it just was very vague. So that was my opinion of it, but overall, I thought it was a really good story. I enjoyed the events as they unfolded, and I'm glad I did get to read it. Those were the books that I read this month in November. I am very proud of how many books I finally did manage to read. I've been in a bit of a reading slump, and it's been really annoying, but I'm glad I finally have gotten a little bit back on track. How many books did you guys read this month? Did you guys have a reading goal? Did you hit it? Did you not? Are you like me and also kind of in a reading slump where you don't have as much time as you would like to read? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. But that's all I have for you guys today, so thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys like it, then let me know in the comments down below. Share it with a friend you think might like it too. And subscribe to my channel so you can stay updated with all the bookish things that I'm uploading in the future. But that's all I have for you guys today, so thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.